frequency. So this is getting in to some of the science of all of this. Um, More commonly, it's known as pitch. So you're familiar with the term pitch. You hear a high pitch sound like a whistle or something. You hear a low pitch, low end sound. That's kind of like someone playing a bass, someone playing something through a sub, whatever. All that, highs and lows. What's actually happening behind all of that is you're hearing vibrations from a sound wave. And frequency is just how often a wave completes a cycle. So how frequent something happens, if that makes sense. So kind of just to illustrate this, I just drew out some stuff really quick. So on the top here, we have hopefully you can see that, this would be a lower frequency sound. This would be a higher frequency sound here. So basically the difference is you have this wave is completing its cycle slower in the same amount of time. This one is completing it faster in the same amount of time. So that's the measurement of frequency. It's measured in terms called hertz, and that's essentially just how fast is this wave completing its cycle, which still is probably a little bit more than what you were trying to think about. But what you're mostly going to need it for is when you are working with equalization. That's the most time that you're going to have to use frequency. So you won't really have to worry about wavelengths and all of that kind of stuff. That's the actual explanation of what it is, and maybe that'll help you kind of grasp the concept of it a little bit more. So like I said, it's measured in hertz. So the human range of hearing is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz. You'll hear hertz and kilohertz both. So basically, the reason that you're going to need to know this is, like I said, when you're working with EQ. And there's going to be another video actually looking at the EQ that's on the board that you're using, the graphic EQ, actually showing you more of how to use that. But this is the core concepts that you're going to be applying. So for example, if you hear somebody say that they need a boost around 3K, then you go and you turn it up a little bit around the 3 kilohertz mark. Again, explain more of this later, but this is just kind of an idea of what you're actually going to be working with. So the way these are typically separated is you have low, mid, and high. So like I was saying, you have lower end sounds like a bass player, something coming through a sub. Typically with live engineering, all the bass kind of sounds, the kick drum and the bass are going to be your lowest frequencies that you deal with most of the time. Maybe some of your tracks, depending on what's in the tracks. But this is usually going to be around 20 to 250 hertz. So actually, if you're at a board right now while you're watching this, if not, don't worry about it. But if you are, then maybe look at the EQ as I'm talking about this, and you can just follow along the line and see like the frequencies that I'm talking about. They should be listed out. So your low end is typically going to be anywhere between like 20 and 250 hertz. Because again, if you go under 20, you're under the level of human hearing, so that's not really going to have an effect on anything. 20 to 250 hertz, this is all taken up by, like I said, your bass and your kick drum. Moving up from there, you have your mid-range, which is pretty large. This is anywhere from 500 to around like 2 or 4,000 or 4K hertz. And this is going to be a good part of your band is going to fall in this. A lot of the pieces of your drum kit are going to fall in this. Guitars are probably going to fall in this. Some of your vocals are probably going to fall in this. So a lot of stuff is going to be in this range of frequencies, 500 to about 2 or 4,000 or 4K. And high is anything above 8 kilohertz. So this is going to be particularly like hats and cymbals. Some of your voices will be somewhere up in this range, will fall somewhere here. Maybe even some stuff you do with keys from time to time might fall in this range. So like we said, more of this will be done in the EQ video, but the main understanding of frequency is that it's the same as pitch. So when you're hearing a low pitch, high pitch sound, you're hearing a low frequency and high frequency sound. The only reason I'm really even making this video is because I'm going to say frequency a lot in other videos, and I want you to understand what I'm talking about. And it'll probably make more sense when you can actually be looking at something with me. But yeah, go back to the part, if you need to, go back to the part of the drawing, you can pause it. And that is kind of just an example of what's happening with the lower frequency and what's happening with the higher frequency. So you can always leave comments and questions in the comment section. I will be monitoring that. So if you have anything I can explain better, because I'm trying to make these as fast as I can, but if you have anything I can explain better, then I can maybe do like a written response there. Or you can message me from the group message or anything like that, and I would be happy to explain things further. But that's a little bit of explanation of frequency.